Welcome to a journey that is all about discovering the best version of yourself. This book is not just about reading. It is about taking action and growing step by step. Life can often feel confusing and overwhelming. You may wonder who you really are, what your purpose is, and how to live a life that feels meaningful. The truth is, every person has untapped potential. The question is whether you are ready to explore it. Personal growth is like climbing a mountain. You start from the base and move upward level by level. Each level builds on the one before. Skip a level and the journey becomes harder. This journey is divided into 7 levels. Each level focuses on one important aspect of your life. Together, they form a complete roadmap to becoming your best self. You will learn to understand yourself, discover your purpose, build discipline, sharpen focus, master your emotions, develop resilience, and finally contribute to something bigger than yourself. This is not a race. Take your time to understand and apply each lesson. The more you practice, the stronger and more confident you will become. As we begin the first level, you will start by looking inward. The journey to growth begins with knowing yourself. Self-awareness is the foundation of everything else. Without knowing who you are, it is impossible to live with purpose or achieve your true potential. In the next chapter, we will explore how to become deeply aware of your thoughts, feelings, habits, and patterns, so that you can start building a life that truly reflects who you are. Level 1: Self-awareness. Self-awareness is the foundation of all personal growth. Without it, no real change can begin. It is the process of turning the light inward and observing who you truly are. Most people move through life without really knowing themselves. They react to situations, follow routines, and make decisions based on habit or fear rather than understanding. But once you start seeing yourself clearly, everything begins to shift. To be self-aware is to become an observer of your own life. It means noticing your thoughts without judging them. It means asking yourself why you feel certain emotions and what triggers your reactions. It is about recognizing your strengths, weaknesses, values, and beliefs. The more clearly you see yourself, the more power you have to shape your life consciously, instead of living on autopilot. Self-awareness begins with simple reflection. You can start by asking gentle questions. Who am I when no one is watching? What truly matters to me? What patterns do I repeat even when they hurt me? These questions may sound simple, but they open deep doors inside you. Writing your thoughts in a journal can help. When you write without trying to be perfect, your mind becomes clearer, and you begin to understand yourself better. Another way to build awareness is through mindfulness. Mindfulness means being present in the moment, not lost in the past or future. When you eat, just eat. When you walk, just walk. When you speak, truly listen to your own words. The more present you are, the more you notice your inner world and how it connects with the outer world. Awareness grows in silence, in stillness, and in honesty. Self-awareness also means accepting what you find within yourself. You might discover parts of you that you do not like: fear, anger, insecurity, or jealousy. Do not run away from them. These are not your enemies. They are signals showing you where healing and growth are needed. When you accept yourself completely, you create space for transformation. It is important to remember that awareness is not about perfection. You do not have to fix everything immediately. Awareness is simply seeing things as they are. When you see clearly, change happens naturally. You begin to notice what drains your energy and what nourishes it. You start choosing peace over chaos, honesty over pretending, growth over comfort. People who lack self-awareness often live under illusions. They blame others for their unhappiness, repeat the same mistakes, and never understand why life feels heavy. But when you wake up to who you are, you take back your power. You stop being a victim of circumstance and become a conscious creator of your life. Imagine standing in front of a mirror, not the physical mirror that shows your face, but the inner mirror that reflects your soul. At first, it might feel uncomfortable. But as you keep looking with honesty and compassion, you begin to recognize the person you were meant to be. That is where real growth begins. Self-awareness also strengthens your relationships. When you understand your emotions, you can communicate more clearly and respond with empathy instead of reaction. You stop expecting others to fill your emptiness because you learn to meet yourself first. Awareness brings peace, balance, and confidence. Every great change begins with awareness. You cannot build a house without knowing where to place the foundation. Similarly, you cannot grow into your best self without knowing who you are at your core. So take this first step seriously. Listen to yourself, watch your mind, and become your own student. As you become more aware, you will feel a deep desire to move forward, to give direction to your life. That next step is called purpose. Once you know who you are, you must ask why you are here. And that is what we will explore in the next chapter. How to find your true purpose and live a life of meaning and direction. Level 2. Purpose. Once you begin to understand yourself, the next step is to find your purpose. Self-awareness tells you who you are, but purpose tells you why you are here. It gives your life direction and meaning. Without purpose, even success can feel empty. You may achieve many things, but still feel lost inside. Purpose is what connects your inner world to your outer actions. It gives every day a sense of meaning. Purpose does not always arrive as a sudden revelation. It often unfolds slowly, like the sunrise. You begin by asking simple but powerful questions. What makes me come alive? What would I do even if no one paid me for it? What kind of impact do I want to leave behind? These questions help you connect to something deeper than daily survival. Finding purpose starts with curiosity. Pay attention to what draws your heart naturally. Notice the activities that make you lose track of time. Maybe it is creating, helping, teaching, designing, or solving problems. These are clues to your inner calling. Purpose is rarely found in comfort. It reveals itself when you step out of routine and follow your curiosity with courage. Some people think purpose must be grand or world-changing. But that is not true. Purpose can be as simple as making your family's life better, spreading kindness, or creating something that inspires others. It does not have to be big to be meaningful. What matters is that it feels right and real to you. Purpose also gives you strength in hard times. When life becomes difficult, your purpose becomes your anchor. It reminds you why you started and helps you keep going. People with purpose are not free from pain, but they have a reason to rise again after every fall. They turn challenges into fuel for growth. If you feel uncertain about your purpose, start small. Choose one thing today that feels meaningful and do it with full attention. When you take small, purposeful actions, clarity grows. Purpose is not something you wait to discover. It is something you create through living with awareness. Remember, purpose is not fixed forever. It may evolve as you grow. What feels important today may change tomorrow, and that is okay. Growth means your purpose deepens and expands. The key is to stay connected with your inner truth, not just with external expectations. Distraction is the greatest enemy of purpose. The world is full of noise, opinions, and pressures trying to pull you in every direction. To live with purpose, you must learn to say no to what does not align with your values. Protect your time and energy. Focus on what really matters. Purpose and happiness are deeply connected. When you do something that matches your inner values, you feel alive. Life feels lighter, even when it is busy. You stop chasing validation because your fulfillment comes from within. Purpose turns ordinary moments into meaningful ones. Many people spend their lives searching for purpose in the wrong places. They chase money, fame, or approval, thinking these things will give them meaning. But true purpose is found within, not outside. It is born from contribution, love, and alignment between your heart and your actions. Sometimes, finding purpose means letting go. Letting go of who you thought you had to be, or what others expect you to do. It requires courage to follow your own path. You may not always have support, but purpose will give you the strength to keep walking. Once you know your purpose, life becomes clear. Every decision becomes easier because you have a guiding star. You stop wasting energy on things that do not matter. You move forward with clarity and calm. And yet, Even with purpose, dreams remain only dreams until action brings them alive. Purpose gives direction, but discipline gives motion. It is discipline that turns intention into reality. In the next chapter, we will explore how discipline becomes the silent force that turns your purpose into progress and your vision into achievement. Level 3. Discipline. Discipline is the bridge that connects your dreams to reality. It is the quiet force that transforms intention into action. You may have a strong purpose, but without discipline, it stays only as a wish. Discipline is what keeps you moving when motivation fades. It is the art of doing what must be done, even when you do not feel like doing it. Most people misunderstand discipline. They see it as restriction or punishment. But true discipline is freedom. When you are disciplined, you control your habits instead of letting them control you. You choose your path instead of drifting wherever life takes you. Discipline creates order, clarity, and progress. It is self-respect in action. Discipline is built on small daily choices. It does not require perfection, only consistency. You do not need to change everything at once. Start with one area of your life, maybe waking up earlier, exercising regularly, reading each day, or reducing distractions. The goal is to prove to yourself that you can keep a promise you make to your own mind. Each small victory strengthens your willpower. Routine is the foundation of discipline. When you build simple, repeatable habits, you no longer rely on motivation. Motivation comes and goes, but habits remain steady. Create a morning routine that sets your energy for the day. Plan your time instead of leaving it to chance. When you plan ahead, you reduce the friction between intention and action. One of the biggest obstacles to discipline is comfort. The human mind loves comfort and routine, even when it leads to stagnation. Growth happens when you learn to step beyond that comfort zone. Every time you push through resistance, every time you show up even when you don't feel like it, you grow stronger. Discipline is like a muscle. The more you train it, the more natural it becomes. There will be days when you fail. You will skip a workout, lose focus, or break a promise to yourself. Do not let guilt stop you. Discipline is not about being perfect. It is about returning again and again. Every time you restart, you strengthen your inner commitment. The key is not to quit just because you slipped. Remember, falling is part of learning how to walk. Discipline is also about priorities. You cannot do everything, but you can do what truly matters. When you are clear about your purpose, discipline helps you focus your energy on it. Say yes to the things that align with your goals, and say no to distractions. Every yes and no you give is shaping your future. Sometimes discipline requires you to make sacrifices. It might mean less entertainment, fewer late nights, or saying no to temporary pleasures for long-term growth. But the reward is peace, confidence, and progress. Nothing feels better than knowing you kept your word to yourself. Discipline also builds trust. Others begin to respect you when they see that your actions match your words. But more importantly, you begin to respect yourself. That self-trust becomes the foundation for all future success. Remember, discipline is not about pushing harder. It is about staying steady. Even small progress made daily is better than bursts of energy followed by burnout. Focus on being consistent, not perfect. As you practice discipline, you will notice a powerful change. You begin to focus naturally. Discipline clears the noise from your life and strengthens your ability to direct your attention where it matters most. The next step in your journey is focus. Because once you have the discipline to act, you must learn where to direct that action. In the next chapter, we will explore how to master focus, protect it, and use it to achieve deep, meaningful progress in your life. Level 4. Focus. Focus is the power that turns your effort into results. It is the ability to give your full attention to one thing at a time. In a world filled with distractions, focus has become one of the most valuable skills you can develop. When you focus, your mind becomes a laser, cutting through confusion and chaos. Without focus, even the strongest purpose and discipline lose their strength. Focus begins with clarity. You cannot focus on everything. You must decide what truly matters. When your mind is clear about what you want, Your energy naturally flows toward it. Clarity is like a compass. It points your attention in the right direction. Take a moment to ask yourself what your top priorities are right now. When everything feels important, nothing really is. Choose the few things that truly move you forward and give them your best attention. Modern life constantly fights against focus. Notifications, endless scrolling, and multitasking steal our attention little by little. Each distraction weakens your ability to think deeply. To master focus, you must protect it like a treasure. Turn off unnecessary alerts, set time limits for social media, and create spaces of silence for thinking. Your attention is your most precious resource. Spend it wisely. One of the most effective ways to improve focus is through single tasking. Do one thing at a time and do it well. When you split your attention, your mind becomes scattered. But when you commit fully to one task, you work with more creativity and efficiency. Single tasking is not just about productivity. It is about presence. It teaches you to live fully in the moment. Another tool to strengthen focus is time blocking. Divide your day into blocks of time for specific activities. During each block, give your full attention to that task alone. For example, one block for creative work, one for communication, and one for rest. This simple method trains your mind to stay engaged without constant switching. Focus also grows through mental training. Practices like meditation, breathing exercises, or even quiet walks help calm the restless mind. A calm mind is a focused mind. When your inner world is noisy, focus fades. But when you bring your attention to your breath, or the present moment, you strengthen your ability to direct your thoughts consciously. Discipline and focus are close friends. Discipline gets you to show up. Focus keeps you there. You may sit at your desk because of discipline, but it is focus that allows you to produce meaningful work. Together, they form the foundation of achievement. Focus is not only about attention, it is also about boundaries. You must learn to say no to distractions, unimportant tasks, and even people who pull you away from your vision. Every no you say to distraction is a yes to your purpose. Protect your focus as you would protect your most valuable possession. When you are focused, time feels different. Hours can pass like minutes because you enter a state of flow. In that state, you are completely absorbed in what you do, and creativity flows effortlessly. That is the magic of deep focus. It connects you to your highest potential. Remember, focus is not something you find. It is something you create through intention and practice. Every day, you have a choice: to scatter your attention or to direct it with power. The more you practice focus, the stronger it becomes. As your focus sharpens, you begin to notice another layer of growth waiting for you: the world of emotions. Even the most focused mind can be shaken by emotional turbulence. That is why the next level of growth is emotional mastery. Because once you learn to manage your emotions, your focus becomes unbreakable, and your growth becomes unstoppable. Level 5. Emotional Mastery. Emotional mastery is the art of understanding, managing, and transforming your emotions. It is not about suppressing how you feel, but about learning to respond wisely instead of reacting blindly. Your emotions are powerful signals. They tell you what matters, what hurts, and what brings you joy. When you learn to listen to them without being ruled by them, you gain real freedom. Most people let their emotions control their lives. Anger makes them say things they regret. Fear stops them from taking chances. Sadness pulls them into hopelessness. Emotional mastery changes that pattern. It gives you the ability to pause, breathe, and choose your response. It is about staying centered, even when life feels chaotic. The first step in emotional mastery is awareness. You cannot control what you do not understand. Notice your emotions throughout the day. When you feel irritated, ask yourself why. When you feel anxious, look for the thought behind it. Emotions are like waves. They rise and fall. If you fight them, they grow stronger. If you observe them calmly, they lose power. Awareness allows you to separate who you are from what you feel. The second step is acceptance. Many people try to fight or hide their emotions, thinking that negative feelings make them weak. But emotions are not enemies. They are teachers. Anger can show you where your boundaries are being crossed. Fear can warn you to prepare. Sadness can help you release what no longer serves you. When you accept your emotions instead of resisting them, they pass through you more easily. Next comes regulation. This means learning how to calm yourself in moments of stress. Breathing deeply, walking in nature, writing your thoughts, or talking to someone you trust can help. The goal is not to avoid strong emotions, but to manage them so they do not control your actions. When you master emotional regulation, you make better decisions and stay steady under pressure. Emotional mastery also involves empathy. When you understand your own emotions, you become more understanding of others. You begin to see that everyone is fighting their own inner battles. Empathy builds stronger relationships and deeper connections. It allows you to communicate with kindness instead of judgment. One of the greatest lessons in emotional mastery is learning to let go. Holding on to anger, guilt, or resentment keeps you trapped in the past. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting what happened. It means freeing yourself from the emotional weight it carries. Letting go is a gift you give yourself. It opens space for peace and new possibilities. Your emotions can either be your greatest strength or your biggest weakness. When left unmanaged, they control your focus and drain your energy. But when mastered, they become fuel for your growth. A calm, emotionally balanced person can handle challenges with clarity and confidence. Emotional mastery does not mean you will never feel pain or fear again. It means you will know how to navigate them without losing yourself. It means you can remain grounded even in chaos. It is the skill that separates reaction from response, weakness from wisdom. As you grow emotionally, your resilience naturally increases. You stop breaking under pressure and start bending with it. You begin to see challenges as opportunities to grow stronger. And that brings you to the next level, resilience. Because once you master your emotions, you are ready to face life's storms with strength, patience, and an unshakable spirit. Level 6, resilience. Resilience is the strength to rise again after every fall. It is the ability to stay strong in the face of pain, failure, or disappointment. Life will not always go as you plan. There will be challenges, heartbreaks, and moments of deep doubt. But resilience helps you keep moving forward no matter what stands in your way. It turns obstacles into lessons and setbacks into growth. Resilience is not about never falling. It is about learning how to get back up. Every successful person you admire has faced moments of defeat. The difference is that they refused to stay down. They used failure as fuel. They learned, adapted, and kept going. That is what resilience truly means, to bend but not break. The first key to building resilience is acceptance. Accept that pain, loss, and failure are part of life. When you resist them, you suffer more. But when you accept them as natural parts of your journey, you find strength in understanding. Acceptance does not mean giving up. It means facing reality with courage and clarity. The second key is perspective. When you are in the middle of a struggle, everything can feel dark. But if you step back and look at the bigger picture, you begin to see meaning in your challenges. Every hardship is shaping you into someone stronger and wiser. You are not being punished, you are being prepared. Resilient people see life as a teacher, not as an enemy. Another important part of resilience is adaptability. Life changes constantly, and those who survive are the ones who learn to adjust. Do not hold on too tightly to one plan or one way of doing things. When life shifts, learn to flow with it. Adaptation is a sign of strength, not weakness. It shows that you trust yourself enough to find new paths when the old ones close. Resilience also comes from inner faith. You must believe that no matter what happens, you have the power to endure and grow. This faith can be spiritual or simply a deep trust in your own strength. When you stop doubting your ability to survive, you start focusing on how to thrive. Building resilience requires self-care. You cannot be strong if you are constantly exhausted or emotionally drained. Rest when needed, eat well, and take care of your body and mind. Resilience is not about ignoring pain. It is about recovering wisely. Even the strongest tree needs time to heal after a storm. Surround yourself with people who uplift you. Resilience grows faster when you have support. Talk to those who understand your journey and remind you of your strength when you forget it. But remember, true resilience also means being able to stand alone when needed. You carry your own strength within you. Each challenge you overcome adds a layer of confidence to your soul. The more you endure, the more unshakable you become. Soon, the things that once broke you will no longer scare you. You will begin to see yourself as a warrior of life, tested, scarred, but stronger than ever. Resilience is not a destination. It is a lifelong practice. Every difficulty you face becomes another opportunity to rise higher. With time, resilience turns into wisdom, and wisdom turns into peace. Once you build resilience, your energy begins to shift from survival to service. You no longer just live for yourself. You start thinking about how your strength can help others. That is the final level of growth, contribution. Because the true purpose of personal growth is not only to become strong, but to use that strength to make a difference in the world. Level 7. Contribution. The final level of personal growth is contribution, the point where your journey turns outward. After all the inner battles, self-discoveries, and transformations, you realize that true fulfillment doesn't come from what you achieve for yourself, but from what you give to others. Growth that ends with the self is incomplete. It is only when you begin to share your knowledge, energy, and purpose that your life gains a deeper meaning. Contribution is the level where self-actualization transforms into service. When you contribute, you become a channel through which life flows. You've cultivated awareness, discipline, emotional strength, and resilience. And now you use these gifts to make the world a little better. This doesn't always mean grand gestures or building empires of change. It can be as simple as offering wisdom to someone struggling, mentoring a young person, or being kind when the world isn't. Contribution is not about recognition. It's about resonance, creating ripples of impact that continue long after you're gone. At this level, you start seeing that the purpose of your success was never just about you. It was about preparing you to serve. The challenges you faced were not punishments, but preparation, teaching you empathy, patience, and strength. Every struggle becomes a story that can guide others. Every victory becomes a tool for teaching. The pain you endured becomes the bridge that connects you to someone else's healing. Contribution doesn't demand perfection. It only asks for sincerity. Many people hold back, thinking they aren't ready to help others until they've figured everything out. But contribution is not about having all the answers. It's about sharing your journey honestly. Sometimes your vulnerability can empower others more than your success ever could. When you show others that growth is messy but possible, you become a living example of hope. As you operate from this level, a sense of peace emerges. You begin to feel connected to something larger than yourself: humanity, life, the universe itself. The ego loosens its grip. You realize you are not separate from others. You are part of the same whole. Your growth becomes collective. Your happiness becomes tied to the happiness of others. This stage transforms ambition into purpose. Instead of asking, "What can I get?" you start asking, "What can I give?" The more you give, the more life gives back, not always in material ways, but through fulfillment, joy, and inner freedom. Giving becomes effortless because you're no longer pouring from emptiness. You're overflowing from abundance. At level 7, contribution becomes your natural state of being. You lead, inspire, teach, and uplift simply by living authentically. You are not chasing impact. You are the impact. You walk with humility, knowing that the light you found within can help others find their own. The journey of personal growth comes full circle here. You began by discovering yourself, and you end by losing yourself in service. Yet, this loss is not emptiness. It is expansion. You become a part of something eternal. And that is the highest level of growth: to give, to serve, and to love without condition. As we move to the conclusion, your path to greatness will reflect on how these 7 levels intertwine. and how you can live each one not as a ladder to climb, but as a way of being every single day. Conclusion: your path to greatness. Every journey of personal growth begins with a single realization: that you are not yet everything you could be, but you have within you everything you need to become it. Through the 7 levels, you've walked from awareness to purpose, from discipline to focus, from emotional mastery to resilience, and finally to contribution. Each level was not a step to escape who you were, but a path to return to your truest self. Growth is not linear. It's not a staircase that you climb once and reach the top. It's a spiral, a continuous unfolding where you revisit the same lessons at deeper levels of understanding. There will be times you fall back, moments when fear whispers louder than faith, and days when purpose feels distant. But that's part of the process. Greatness is not the absence of struggle, it's the mastery of it. Your journey begins with self-awareness, the mirror that helps you see where you are. It deepens with purpose, giving direction to your steps. Discipline becomes your strength, building the bridge between dreams and reality. Focus helps you protect your energy from distractions. Emotional mastery gives you control over the storms within. Resilience teaches you to rise, again and again, even when the path breaks beneath you. And finally, contribution turns your growth into light for others. Together, these levels create a life of balance, a life where success is not defined by wealth or status, but by peace, purpose, and the impact you leave behind. True greatness doesn't come from being above others. It comes from lifting others while you rise. It's about living so consciously that your presence itself becomes a source of inspiration. Remember, growth never ends. Even when you reach level 7, the universe keeps inviting you to evolve further. There's always more love to give, more wisdom to share, more light to shine. The goal is not to become perfect. It's to become real, whole, and deeply alive. The beauty of this journey lies in awareness, to live intentionally, to choose your responses, to honor your inner voice. Every decision, every failure, every success adds another layer to who you are becoming. You are the sculptor and the sculpture. The masterpiece is your evolving self. As you walk forward, carry this truth with you. You are both the journey and the destination. Every moment is a chance to practice awareness, purpose, discipline, focus, emotional mastery, resilience, and contribution. These are not ideas to memorize. They are experiences to live. Your path to greatness is not waiting somewhere ahead. It begins now, with every conscious breath, every act of kindness, every decision to rise when it would be easier to fall. You have all that it takes. You always did. The 7 levels were just the map. The real transformation happens in how you live them, every single day. So, step forward with clarity, courage, and compassion, because your journey has just begun.